Welcome to the Fixed Ops Hustle Podcast, where we talk about all things to help any automotive repair shops grow their business, covering topics like leadership, emerging trends, technologies, processes, planning, financials, and marketing. And now your host, Marcus Aman.
Hey, my name is Marcus Aman. Thank you for taking the time to view our podcast and listen to us across Apple Music and Spotify. Today, I have a special guest. It's our first episode of Fixed Ops Hustle presented by Shyft Auto. And today we have Jason Benson, who's our first very ever guest here on our show. And I've known Jason for several years. He's got at least 15 plus years in the auto industry. He's done pretty much every job in the automotive industry, from sales to finance to management. And he's got just a great background, in the dealership land. And now he's a sales manager at the Hendrick Automotive Group. So everybody, please welcome Jason Benson to our show.
How's everybody doing? Glad to be.
Yeah. How many years, Jason, did you win like the Elite Presidential Sales Award?
7 years in a row. So
7 in a row. That's mighty impressive, man. That's a great job. And obviously you didn't get there just by showing up to work. You got there because you had big goals and dreams, right?
Yes, sir. You got it. A lot of passion, a lot of hard work.
Excellent. So one of the first things that we want to do on this show and every show is always ask the person that we're interviewing, what is a favorite quote that you have or a quote that you live by?
My favorite quote is definitely the serenity prayer. Something I live by every day. I have it up in my house every day when I walk down the steps, and that's God grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That's how I live every day. And, I come to work and positive attitude, speak to everybody in the dealership, and just try to make everybody's day better and help encourage everybody to do better.
Well, beautiful. I love that, man. I like your beard too. You grew like a full beard. I didn't know who you were. I didn't know if we were going to go cut lumber or something later on.
It started with a November beard, and we just kind of kept it going. So,
yeah, I like it. Another question I'd like to ask you is one, like you've been in the industry for a while. So who is somebody that has inspired you to do just great things or continue in the automotive industry?
Well, definitely Bob Barber, one of my biggest influences, biggest supporters. Scott Byerly, our GM, learn a lot from him every day and try to take on a lot of his stuff he does and, use it to my advantages. And actually, Marcus Aman, I worked with Marcus over 7 years, and great mentor, great inspire, and, great motivator.
Well, I don't know about myself, but I can speak about Bob and Scott, and I can tell you that they're two of the best humans on planet Earth, and they know how to win, and they definitely lead by example, both of them. So let's talk about the thing that we really want to talk about on this podcast is, let's talk about leadership and the effects that leadership has on sales, on hitting your goals, on hitting your targets. How do you and at the Hendrick Automotive Group, how do you guys approach leadership, and what do you think the effect that has on sales?
Well, definitely we try to use servant leadership. We try to lead by example. We also try to lead in a great way and listen to our employees and not always try to be the one that's right. We want to be the one to make changes, and in order to make changes, sometimes you got to admit you're wrong. So,
yep, I 100% agree. And there is a saying that the customer's always right, even when they're not.
All the time.
Right. During a pandemic, we've been fighting this mess since March, right? So what type of challenges have you guys had in leading the team, even if it was maybe like a remote team or giving people time off or trying to socially distance during this time? What are some of the challenges that you guys have had on the sales front, as well as the service side?
Well, we've had to get creative. We've had to do things we've never had to do before. More phone calls, more emails, more home deliveries, picking cars up, taking them back, just making customers feel safe. Also, there's not we don't have as much traffic as we've been having, but we've had to find ways to generate traffic other than just waiting outside for customers to come in. It seems like, through the pandemic, we've actually excelled this year, had a better year than last year, which is always a plus, and hopefully we continue to get better.
Yeah, and we talk to a lot of dealerships, or I do daily. I mean, I've spoken to 5 or 6 today, with presentations, and the same words come out when we're speaking, is that the traffic is down, the car buying traffic is down. However, they're still having great months, right? They're still selling cars digitally, and moving into the future. I mean, obviously, you have to think about how you connect with the buyer of today and tomorrow, and what channels are you reaching these customers across? I mean, obviously, social is really big, and providing a buying process that's digitally is important these days, right? So, moving into the future, what do you think leadership looks like with customers changing, the people that you hire at the store? I mean, what would you say the average age of a salesperson or dealership employee is now?
I would say, late 20s. That would definitely be the age. And, we're very thankful here at Barber Hendrick Honda that we hadn't had a lot of turnover, and we have a lot of seasoned guys here, but we do have a couple new guys on. And training the new guys, you got to train them to the times. You got to train people's time now. To me, is more important than anything. And finding time to get to the dealership, look at cars, fight the pandemic. We got to learn to adapt to what's going on and just make things easier on the customer, I think.
Yeah, well, great. I love that. And like during today's time that we're working in and living in, how do you approach an employee that may have an issue at home where they have like maybe a parent or a kid or someone who's been tested positive for COVID? I mean, how do you handle that? I mean, obviously you have to have as much empathy as possible, right? And the people come first, right? So how do you guys how do you handle that? Because I know it happens, right? So how do you handle that?
What we do, and it's not easy to tell somebody they got to quarantine for 10 days, but with, what we've been doing is we've been providing them with shelter in place pay. So it's took off a lot of pressure of, hey, my mom got sick, she lives with me, but at the same time, I don't want to come infect my friends, my employees or customers with the virus. So, we've came up with a shelter in place pay. All our employees get paid the 10 days they are home. And it just takes a lot of pressure off. We try to keep everything clean here. So,
yeah, well, you guys are, heroes to a lot of people in the industry. I mean, you're essential workers. So, that's a big deal, man. The world can't move without cars. It can't move without cars, without people buying them and without them being serviced. So, from the salespeople to the management to the technicians to the service advisors, I mean, a dealership is very important in providing a way for customers to get from one place to another place. And today, with people moving out of New York City and moving out of these big metropolitan areas, car ownership is going up, right?
Oh yeah.
And so will car service. So leading in the next few years, when you look at companies like Tesla, for example, right, that are direct to consumer. They even are direct to consumer for service. How does that change the game for us at the dealership level? How do you lead through that?
You try to keep everybody positive. You keep everybody on beat. And again, you try to make the customer's service or sales experience as easy and time consuming as possible.
You're going dark on us, man. Somebody, the timer.
There we go. I got still too long.
Yeah, the timer has cut you off. I'm sorry. Yeah, we don't have too much longer here, only about 9 more minutes. So give us a little backstory. I kind of did a brief, I don't know if I did you enough justice there at the very beginning, but tell me about how old you were when you got into the car industry, the jobs that you've held, the mentors that you've had, the best months and the best years that you've had. What they look like and where you plan on going in 2021 and 2025.
All right, so great question. I actually started washing cars at 13 years old in my uncle's dealership. Washed cars until I was 18. Started selling cars at 18. From the first month I started selling cars, I've been pretty much the top salesman everywhere I've worked. And reason being, I'm usually the first one here and the last one to leave. Come in early, leave late, wait on every customer I can, take care of every customer I can, and just, try to take care of them down the road. And just do the little things that, birthday calls, Christmas cards, just great follow-up that other dealers don't do. I've also, done finance. I actually managed a used car lot for 4 years at CD's Automotive. Left there, has sold cars for Toyota, excelled there. Been with Honda now for almost 8 years. Have been Honda Gold for 7 years and Hendricks President for 7 years. Now I'm actually in a leadership role, sales manager here. Have 17 salesmen I'm in charge of, and day to day we have a very, very busy schedule here. So next year my goals are to just make myself a better leader. Try to drive more business to the dealership. Hopefully by 2025 I can be running a dealership. That's my goal. So I'm going to work hard and just do everything right to do that. So.
Yeah, well, I love that, man. You have a goal in place. You want to run a store. And that's fantastic, because there's a lot of good things about running a dealership, running a store. It's a lot of hard work, and not a lot of people can do it and be successful at it. So it takes somebody that is structured, very structured, like you are, coming in at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, like I remember you coming in to get going, get your day set up. That's what it takes. So you have a ton of salespeople, well, I say ton, but you have 17 salespeople there working for you. You have other sales managers working there. You have the service department on the other side of the shop. How do you get those guys in the morning? What do you do to motivate your team so that they produce the same type of results that Jason Benson produced when he was on the floor?
Well, every morning, I pretty much have I do the same routine. I come into the shop, I speak to every mechanic, every detail employee, every parts employee, every service writer, the service managers, the receptionist. Just try to, good morning, how are you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. How are your kids? Just try to be real personal with them. Just tell them they're doing a good job, pat them on the back, and with my salespeople, all of them are different. Every one of them, it gets motivated in a different way. Some of them you got to really pat on the back and stand beside them. Some of them you just lead by example, and just listen to them, listen to what they're saying sometimes over what you're thinking. Sometimes as a sales manager, you got to, even when you're right, you got to be wrong. So just to,
Yeah. Well, and with what I'm doing now is, I have a team of employees as well. And I have some salespeople. Well, I'll say salespeople. They have, everybody wears a hat, different hats with what we're doing. One minute you may be onboarding a customer, the next minute you're making 50 phone calls. It's whatever it takes. Everybody has that job title. What is your job title with what we do? It's whatever it takes. That's what our job title is. So, some people are better than others. Some people are learning. Maybe we took a guy that was in development. We just recently did that. He was in development, and now we've moved him over to sales, just because that was where the need was at in the business. We got through a big development push, and now we're on a full assault on cold calling. So now he's learning how to cold call. He's never done cold calling before, but hey, we got some Grant Cardone training, man, and we're looking to 10X this thing.
10X, baby.
That's right. We've always followed Grant Cardone, haven't we? I mean,
oh yeah.
Even 7 years ago, we were talking about 10X back then, so
John Maxwell, I do get my minute with Maxwell every morning before I come to work, and that kind of pushes me in the right direction also.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing I will say about the Hendrick Automotive Group for sure, is that they do make sure that the general managers and the staff there are disciplined on following a structured leadership program, especially with the John Maxwell program that they're enrolled in. I mean, it was great. I was learning stuff about myself I had no idea. I was learning also too that I wasn't as good as a leader as I thought I was.
That's right.
Yeah, and if you're not failing every day, I mean, it's good to win, but if you're not failing at something every day, you're not trying hard enough. You're just not. Yeah. So looking at your goal for the end of the year, what is your goal? I mean, we only have how many working days we got left?
We got a monthly goal that we got to hit. So it's hopefully we can stay strong through Christmas, maintain, and then the week after Christmas, just rock and roll.
Yeah. How's inventory levels right now?
Inventory is great. We have a lot full of cars. As you know, the backfield is full of cars.
Yeah.
We're ready. We're ready for the push.
Yep. And how's the used car stream?
Used cars are getting better. We got about 80 on the lot. We got about 6 in the hold that are coming up, and we're steadily buying cars, trying to prepare for tax season, and just trying to the goal is of course to have 100 used cars on the lot at all times, and just trying to get back to that. It's been with
COVID and Carvana and these other people in the marketplace. What are the challenges that we see here with used car purchasing?
I think the hardest thing used car purchasing is you purchasing them, of course. Auction prices are sky high right now. Nobody has enough inventory, and people are just paying astronomical prices for used cars.
Yeah, well, it's hard. Like a group like Kendrick, who you go in and buy a car from the auction, and then it comes into service, and then you service it like it's supposed to be serviced, right? You put the tires on it, and you put the brakes on it, and you change the fluids on it like you should before you sell it to a customer, right? But then you got too much money in it when the guy maybe the guy down the road, the used car lot just does the minimum
safety inspection
to it, and he's $1,200 below you on pricing. So it is tough, right? So that's why mining your service lane, the equity part of your service lane is so important. What steps are you taking now to try to acquire customers through the service lane?
Well, we use the Extreme database, and we work it hard. Every time a customer checks into service, it messages my desk, and we push them over there to go pitch them. We definitely want to buy the cars that have been serviced here. We want to buy the cars that we know we can look at them, touch them, feel them, smell them, and just get quality pre-owned cars. That is our goal every day. So.
Yeah, and you're willing to pay more for a car that's gone through service, right? Because you know the service history of it. You know that it was serviced there. The technician, maybe it was Chris Tucker that worked on it the entire time, or Ryan Boucher, or
right.
Michael Hamilton, or one of those guys, right? And just the quality of that type of car is going to be better, of course, than when you would buy it an auction.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. So you buy from these auctions in different places, you don't know what you're getting until they get here. So.
On the sales side, what is one technology that you guys are using that really helps you on a day-to-day basis?
Definitely, I would say our CRM, eLeads, it keeps everybody up to date. It tells people when to call, when to email, birthdays, anniversaries. That's something, if you live by it, it works. So.
Yeah, it really sets you apart when a customer answers the phone and they find out that it's you calling, just telling them happy anniversary,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday. It sets you apart, man. And that's what it's all about. This is a people game. It's relationships. It's not, it is sometimes product, but most of it is just a people game. It's relationship based, right? So
Mr. Barber told me it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly. I think he's in a book about that too. Yeah. Well, look, so I appreciate you joining this call, man, and being part of this podcast, the very first one. I mean, we could sit here and talk for hours, but I know you're busy and you got stuff to get to, and so do I. But thank you for being part of this. This is kicking it off. We're going to be interviewing. I mean, I have just an unbelievable amount of guests that are going to be on this show. I've got the head of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, or the co-founder of Fixed Ops Roundtable, Mike Vogel's going to do it. I've got a guy named Dave Foy, Dave Foy is he's the Fixed Ops Mastermind group over on LinkedIn. He's a great individual. I've got the National Director of Service Operations for Mobility Works. I've got Jeremiah Foy with Hunter Engineering is going to be on the call next week, and I've just got a slew of other people that are going to be joining it too. So,
you for having me.
Yeah, we look forward to interviewing people that are actually working in the field as well. That's something that, there's a lot of great people that are providing a lot of great content out there. Ted Ings with the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Automotive State of the Union. There's a lot of great content out there in the industry. But one thing that I see missing is, there's not a lot of people interviewing the people that are actually working in the stores. Right. So I think it's important to talk to you guys and understand the challenges that you may face and maybe we can learn something, maybe I can learn something, so I appreciate you joining the call, taking the time to do it. You're a friend of mine and you will remain a friend of mine. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. And
I got some sauce for you too.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I'm going to plug his barbecue sauce on this show. He made me some barbecue sauce. I went to one of my friend's house who's like, try this barbecue sauce. And I tried it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. He says, you'll never guess who made this barbecue sauce.
Hey, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Marcus.
Yeah. Anyways, he had some great barbecue sauce.
Hey, buddy, I lost you.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in and joining. It looks like Jason's having some technical difficulties here. But again, I appreciate you taking the time to view this. We'll do as many of these a week as we can. The goal is to just speak to people, and maybe we'll learn something about the car industry. Maybe we'll make some connections. Maybe we'll learn a lot together, and maybe you can learn something by listening to these people. Again, my name's Marcus. This is the Fixed Ops Hustle podcast, episode number 1. Thank you.